Raphael Varane rejects the latest offer from Real Madrid and potentially draws closer to a move to Manchester United this summer, with Oli targeting players that will go straight into his first team. We have a Jadon Sancho update from Laurie Whitwell, plus Tancredi Palmari, one of the most credible Italian journalists, has said that Antonio Conte and Tottenham have agreed terms in relation to his contract. A few details to work through before it is a completed deal. That and much, much more. Hit that like button, hit that share button. Here we go. Morning and welcome back, one and all. Transfer news plenty this morning. We want to go through it all with you. Big focus this morning on Manchester United's activities in the market. Some change has taken place in the last few hours. It really has. Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic has posted a fair story today. We'll share the link for that story actually in the live comment section. If you want to go over there and check that out on The Athletic, it is a phenomenal publication. It really, really is. His article this morning talks very much about Man United's work around the Jadon Sancho deal. We'll touch on that in a few moments. But the big breaking news trending across social media is Raphael Varane. Of course, we heard yesterday Fabrizio Romano talk about Varane turning down the most recent offer. And it was reported 3 or 4 days ago that Manchester United were cooling their interests. Manchester United, I wouldn't say had stepped away as such, but they felt that Raphael Varane was either going to sign a new deal at Real Madrid or he was favouring a move to PSG. So the headlines across a lot of the publications were, Man United had been rejected by Raphael Varane. However, Man United seemed to have been slightly misadvised. Sources close to this is what Laurie Whitwell says, that sources close to Manchester United felt Varane would end up signing a new contract at Real Madrid, but this dynamic has shifted in recent days. And it was only 3 days ago that was being discussed and spoken about. However, Real Madrid has said to want significantly more than the reported 35 million, despite Raphael Varane only having 1 year remaining on his current contract. United's budget would not stretch to that extent if they get Sancho. Remember what we spoke to you about weeks ago now on the Football Terrace. This is how all these things come back round, and you have to try and remain focused on this. Dean Jones spoke about the fact that Manchester United have the money for Jadon Sancho. They're trying to negotiate that down because they need to spend money elsewhere. The reason they re-signed Cavani and they re-signed Eric Bailly is because there are not the funds at the club right now to go out and spend 50, 60 million pound plus on players in other positions, strikers, midfielders, centre-backs. If they can get people in for 40 million and less, there is the potential for these deals unless they sell players. And at the moment, there's no major offers on the table for any player at Man United who's got real value in the market. No one's made a substantial offer for a Martial, for a De Gea, for a Fred or a Paul Pogba, players who may be sold by the football club, whether you agree with it or not. So Man United are still working quite hard on the Villarreal deal, on the Raphael Varane deal. It has moved forward. It's moved forward significantly because the personal terms that Man United have proposed seem to be very, very, very lucrative, according to other sources today. And that's why it's turned his head. It's a really good deal for him. He wants to leave Real Madrid. PSG have come in for him. Man United have come in for him. And it appears Man United are offering the best package for him as a player. And that includes his squad status, where he's going to play in the team, the draw of the Premier League, plus the financial reward and compensation that comes with that. The Raphael Varane deal is very, very interesting at this moment in time. It's fluctuated in the last couple of days. It's trending now across social media. I want your views and your opinions. I want your views and I want your opinions in relation to that. Same shirt as yesterday, dropping standards. Not really, bro. So do you want to let me let you into a little secret? So in my studio here, I have like clothes that I've just put on when I stream, and I take them off again afterwards. So sometimes you'll see me with a t-shirt on. I might only have the t-shirt on for like an hour stream, and it comes off again. It's legit. Because yesterday I didn't have a t-shirt on all day. I was in my garden, in and out of my pool, chilling in the sunshine, my guy. Just literally throw this on stream, take it off again, crack on with life. But well spotted, my friend. I would never wear the same dirty t-shirt 2 days running. Bro, I change my bed sheets 2 times a week minimum. There we go. There we go. Plus, it's very, very true. Plus, very, very true. I actually have 2 of this t-shirt as well because it was from Boohoo. Boohoo sell. I can't believe I'd never been on Boohoo until last summer, and I went on Boohoo Men. They sell like t-shirts for like £6. I was like, wow, I didn't realize it was so. It actually looks quite nice on the website. It's the right stuff for £6. It's all good. Anyway, let's move forward. As I said, Raphael Varane has been trending across social media this morning. The Stretford Paddock put this out late yesterday. They said reports out of Spain suggest Raphael Varane is refusing to sign a new deal with Real Madrid due to the proposal made to him by Manchester United. That is from the Stretford Paddock. You had the Muppeteers, who I know a lot of people follow. The Muppeteers have said, pay attention to Varane. That's the only other thing I heard today. Definitely more intrigue to come from that again. That's where all the noise is. I've maintained for 6 months. If he was available, he'd be the club's top centre-back target. So the Muppeteers, the Stretford Paddock, Laurie Whitwell, all talking about Raphael Varane being a genuine target and him being genuinely interested in joining Manchester United Football Club. As the Muppeteers said, just pay attention to it. Is anything going to be resolved before the Euros? In my opinion, absolutely not. But it's our job to aggregate this news, bring it to you, and then give you the chance to come on and speak. That being said, we're going to share the link now on the Discord server for you to come on and have your say. We are going to give you some Jadon Sancho updates. We are going to give you Antonio Conte updates as well. I'm going to share the link now to call in on the call-in link bar. There's actually like a chat room with the link in it now. If you want to phone in and have your say, if you're not on Discord, get yourself signed up right about now, my wonderful people. Liam here says Kane will stay at Tottenham. City go for Andre Silva, Haaland next summer. United focus on other positions and won't sell to Chelsea. Kane wants England. Listen, I think you could be correct in that. There may be no movement of a major striker this summer. As we had Christoph on yesterday, tier 1 respected journalist said that it's difficult. All these moves are difficult. It's whether one of the big boys is willing to make a mammoth, gargantuan offer that can change the world in an instant. So we would see. We will see in relation to that. In other news this morning, Tancredi Palmari, one of the leading sports journalists in Europe, in the world, in fact, very, very credible, tier 1 out of Italy, has tweeted this morning, and I'll read you his tweet. He says, Tottenham and Antonio Conte reached an agreement on personal terms on 15 million euros per year after taxes, plus 2.5 million of add-ons. What's interesting is a report that came out of Spain yesterday that was like ridiculed and attacked for saying that they'd come to like a 20 million euro agreement. 15 million euro plus 2.5 add-ons after tax. The 20 million euro isn't a bad understanding of what was going on in relation to that. So it does appear that's been done. It goes on to say to find, they're still waiting for an agreement on the signing budget, although ongoing contacts suggest that the issue is soon to be resolved. There are other British journalists and outlets that are saying the deal for Antonio Conte to Tottenham is all agreed and done. It's just formalities now. What we do need to understand, though, and again, something Christoph said to me yesterday, I'm not sure if he said this on the stream or behind the scenes. We spoke for about an hour in total yesterday, even though we only streamed for 45 minutes together. Something he said yesterday stood out to me, that Antonio Conte is a very, very, very difficult man in negotiations. So he could agree to everything over the phone, via email, fly to London, walk into the room, pick up the pen, go to sign, and then ask for a new demand. So You may see journalists say it's done, and they may very well be told in all faith that it's done, but it could move around. But it does appear the personal terms have been agreed. Tancredi Palmari, as I say, one of the most credible journalists out there as it stands right now, has put that out this morning and has said personal terms agreed, 15 million euros after tax plus add-ons. And that is substantial. That is a substantial amount of money for him. Just to convert that into anyone who doesn't know into pounds, as an example. So that there, 15 million, that's around 12, it's around 13 million pounds plus the add-ons there. So 17.5. You're looking at 15 million pounds a year after tax. Remember, at that level of earnings, your tax bracket is around what, 40, 45%? That is a gargantuan contract that he's been offered. Spurs fans, questions to you. Do you feel that's worth it? Do you feel that's worth it? Thank you very much, by the way, to Chowdhury Singh for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. That means a great, great deal to us. It truly, truly does. We've got lots of great content, added extras, an amazing newsletter that's in production at the moment. We had a few kind of drafts of it yesterday. So funny, so great. The team that are putting it together for us. All of that is going to be included. Thank you for becoming a squad member of the Terrace. It means a great, great deal. Let's do some more of your super chats that have come through here. James says, if a woman I love cheats on me, I will leave her and find another woman. Why can't I do the same with Arsenal? I'm embarrassed to be an Arsenal fan. I don't know how to answer that question, my friend, other than to say, because the love you have for your football club is a deep root. I honestly think, barring your children, it's almost the most, and your family, it's the most unyielding, unchanging, unwithering love that you could ever have when you're a diehard fan. You can lose love. I've honestly seen more people in my life get divorced. That's an easy one. Change jobs, easy one. Change friends, easy one. I've even seen more people leave their respective religion than I've seen stop supporting their football team. Legit. I've got friends that have walked away from Christianity. I've got friends that have walked away from Islam. I've had friends that have walked away from religion altogether. I've had friends that have done that and like changed religion and done something. At least 8 or 9 that I know properly that have done that, converted or changed or whatever it is. I've never seen anyone do it when it comes to football. It is deep, bruv. It is ingrained in your DNA. Do you know what I mean? Once you pick, it's over. Nick Thomas here says, you've seen the Muppeteers post at 7 a.m. English media put higher prices on players to seem we get a good deal. It happened this morning with Sancho. Do you know what? I haven't seen that tweet from the Muppeteers, to be fair, and I will go and check it out. The Muppeteers are part of the Discord server. I listen to things that they say. I wouldn't be surprised though. Hang on, it's just here. One thing. Let's put this up on the screen because remember before, right? I'm not trying to say I told you also, but I am going to say I told you also. I've been talking about this for years. They don't just put a higher price. What they have a tendency to do, and they do it massively with Manchester United, is they put the total package price in together. So they'll take the transfer fee, an agent fee, and some of the salary, and they'll put it all together. Or it might be an £80 million fee and £15 million in salary. But then they put it all together and they add it all up. We spoke about that many, many times on the Football Terrace. I'm not surprised. When I first became aware of this is when I was working in football, when I was working as a private banker, and I would know how much money people were earning. I was also often quite privy to see the contracts because from a financial due diligence point of view, we needed evidence at times. It sounds really kind of weird. You would know who this player was. They're famous. You know why Man United have signed them, but we still had to fill in criterias under CDD and EDD, so customer due diligence and advanced due diligence. We'd have to answer simple questions in case we were ever audited by the FCA that stated, why did Man United employ X? And it could be a particular player. And it's because he's a better striker, right? Would be the answer in a more professional way. But you had to answer it because you have to treat everything. There's also another policy within UK finance of treat customers fairly. I couldn't not do the checks on Zlatan Ibrahimovic because I know who he is, and not to a businessman from America or South Africa or Italy that had moved to the UK. You had to treat everybody identically. And I think, so I sort of used to see the contracts. So I know how much was paid for a player, how much they were earning, and I'd see what the media would write and be like, my God, how they've hiked that up or merged it together is crazy. But what the Muppeteers have said, and I'll put this up on the screen so you can all see, and it's a great highlight from them. It's a great shout from the Muppeteers here, no doubt about it. You see this here where they say, one last thing, this isn't an inside information, just something amusing. There's a pattern with Man United targets. They're supposed to be, they're supposed to the price inflate by 15 to 20% in the English media. If you look at it here, it's this, and I don't think it's to make Man United look like we got a better deal, because normally it's these inflated prices that go on to stick. So you see here, 70 million for Wan Bissaka. We got him 20 million pound cheaper than that. You know, we nearly 20 million pounds added onto the price of Harry Maguire. It's crazy. Like 79 million pounds is how much was paid. That's still a hell of a lot of money. But of course, when these stories go out, and it's gone on for a while. It's gone on for a while. There's probably something in these articles as well. Maybe not. I don't know if these are, you know, there's something here. I need to read all of this to see what's being said. But yeah, it's something I've been calling out. And anyone who's been watching the Terrace for a long time, and by the way, the Muppeteers are bang on. It's something I've been calling out for years and years and years on the Terrace. Harrison here says, but Terry, no top player wants to join Man United or play for Ollie. Listen, everybody knows, Harrison, how frustrated I am at times when it comes to Manchester United, Ollie, the situation. But if Raphael Varane chooses us over Chelsea, chooses us over Paris Saint-Germain, then you've got to give credit where credit is due. By the way, we are not offering him significantly more money than anybody else. It's the total package that he's interested in that has turned his head. And he's interested. A lot of people are interested in joining Man United. Awakening a sleeping giant is legacy building. So I hear that completely. We are going to go to your calls very, very soon, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do, I also wanted to give a quick update from Laurie Whitwell in relation to the Jadon Sancho situation, the Jadon Sancho transfer that is, of course, ever ongoing. It's ever ongoing. It's ever moving forward. And we'll put that up on the screen for us now to all have a look at together and go through in relation to this article this morning in The Athletic, where it says Man United in talks over Sancho transfer as hopes rise over a deal. He goes on to say here, Laurie Whitwell, very credible journalist. I'll highlight this in case it's easy for you to see just here. But he says Man United are pressing ahead with talks to sign Jadon Sancho as expectations rise and agreement can be reached. Negotiations have begun in earnest over a price for the 21-year-old. And United have been given encouragement that Dortmund will accept a lower offer than agreed last summer. There is still work to be done on the fee, but the two clubs, with the two clubs apart on valuation at this stage, it is believed United are preparing to commit 80 million, a total that was initially communicated in Germany as being amenable to Dortmund. But the Bundesliga side are said to be holding out for an additional 20 million in achievable add-ons. Now, that is significant. And that is very, very, very significant, because what we've been told by a lot of people for a while now is that 80 million pound was the flat fee that Man United needed to offer. Where the new news comes in is that they're asking for 20 million pound in additional add-ons to get the deal essentially and potentially up to 100 million pounds. And I think what sometimes happens with a lot of these stories is nobody reads the article. Nobody reads the body of work. So what we were all told the other day is Man United are squabbling over price. And we were only told that anecdotally. There was a sentence or a paragraph made on Twitter. Reading what Laurie Whitwell says, it now makes sense. Equally, Man United fans shouldn't be panicking. Man United fans shouldn't be panicking about this deal when it comes to Jadon Sancho, because it isn't expected that any of these big deals are going to happen before the Euros. As Christophe Torres revealed yesterday, there is no expectation for it. There would be complete shock in the industry if a major deal was done before the Euros took place. So with Dortmund trying to get this 20 million pound additional add-ons added to the deal, which has been absolutely silent out there, and I get why it's been silent. It doesn't create for the drama. So I believe other journalists have had this information, but they've held it back. They've just said to us, Man United are squabbling over the price. What they've not told us is what we've heard this morning from Laurie Whitwell and what we heard from Christophe Torres yesterday, that it isn't expected for this deal to go through and be completed before the Euros begins. That's where a lot of Man United fans are feeling the pressure. If we don't get it done by the Euros, somebody else might come in. No, nobody else is coming in significantly for Jadon Sancho as it stands. United are trying to get rid of this £20 million add-on clause, but it's still within the time frame that was expected this summer, that the deal was going to be completed after the European Championships. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. So for me, now that I have this information over the next 24 hours, there is zero panic from me in relation to this Jadon Sancho deal. I'm not going to apologize as such, but from my point of view, the information we saw 2 days ago made us all frustrated. It's now been clarified. Proper information has been given. Man United are not trying to lower the price to what was agreed a few months ago via intermediaries, over £80 million being enough. They're trying to push back on a new £20 million add-on that Borussia Dortmund have pushed in. On top of that, there has been no expectation to get this deal completed before the Euros. That is false or fake news. I'm not too sure where it came from. Christophe confirmed that to us yesterday and to me behind the scenes as well. So don't panic over Jadon Sancho, Manchester United fans. We are going to start going to your calls now this morning as well. Get your comments in. As we always like to do in the morning, I want to pose the big question to you. I want to pose the big question to you right now. Raphael Varane, Jadon Sancho, do you believe that Manchester United Football Club can pull these signings off this summer? We know how much that would improve our squad. We know how much more ability and expectation and quality they would bring to Manchester United. Do you see that deal getting done? Get your comments in now. The link to phone in is on the Discord server, so go and check that out right now. And we are still running the competition for the month of June. Ask me any question you want this morning via a super chat. The best question I'll pick out at the end. You go into the prize draw to win your shirts, just as D1 and Ginger Fury did last month. They've ordered a Chelsea and England shirt respectively. That will be, I think, sent out today. I'm waiting for the accounts department to get that done. We're going to start going to your... Oh, there we go. Nearly knocked my tea over there. That would have been frustrating if I'd have done that, because that would have gone over. I haven't even had a sip of it yet because I'm so busy talking to you wonderful people. KJ's backstage coming on very, very soon to give us his views, to give us his opinions on what is going on. First up, man like Pav is here. Morning, Pav. What do you want to say, buddy?
I want to start off with Conte. I think you might hear the 3 words today later on. Here we go. It looks like that deal's getting really close, but I can't understand how Tottenham have pulled this off. Like, Levy must have looked in his back pocket, found a Euro Millions lottery ticket, and won the jackpot, because if they're getting Conte, they have to be spending money, and I mean at least 100 million. And I don't understand where they've got that money from. That's the only worry for me with Tottenham getting Conte, because a lot of that Tottenham team, I know people come on the terrace and they have got good players, but I think they've got a lot more turds than good players in that team, and you can't polish a turd into gold. So I reckon they must be spending big. They must be getting defensive reinforcements, because that's the first thing they need in that team. And if they keep hold of Harry Kane, I think that for Levy, number one priority is top 4. I think they need Champions League. I don't think he cares about getting a trophy, and I think that could come at our expense. If you look at the Chelsea, Man City, and even Liverpool, I think we could suffer if we don't spend. That leads to me talking about Varane. I can't see him going to PSG because they've got Marquinhos and Kimpembe. And is Varane really going to pull one of them out of the squad, out of the first 11? I can't see that one happening. I think with them, I think they've got a bit more bigger issues with sorting out Mbappe. I've seen links that they might be trying to lure Ronaldo to PSG. So I think it's a battle between Chelsea, Man United. I don't know if anyone else comes in, but from what I've seen on social media, apparently we've offered him a salary package better than what Real Madrid had offered him. And Perez has come out before, not too long ago, saying that if nobody wants to sign, they can go. I don't care. That's what his basically his words were. If you don't want to sign, go. I'm not too bothered. So yeah, I really do hope we
No,
can pull off a Varane, because that
no,
would be one of probably our best centre back signing,
no,
probably since the days of Rio and Vidic.
no. I hear you completely. It would be a massive signing. Look, the Conte deal is what it is, and sometimes in life you're better off waiting. Sometimes in life, don't jump the gun. Sometimes in life, sometimes you've got to twist. And I feel like Spurs twisted. They missed out on their first two major targets in Nagelsmann and Rodgers. They were then. I truly believe they were then talking to the lesser managers, the sort of the Martinez's, the Southgates, the Graham Potters. I believe, because I trust who told me the information, they were talking to those people, but they were never going to make that public. Clubs don't really like to share news that they know the fans are going to be disheartened by. And then the Antonio Conte deal popped its head up, and there were Spurs fans 10 days ago kicking off. How come it's been a month, 6 weeks, and we haven't signed a new manager yet? Just get it done. Well, so that's where I think Daniel Levy and co need a bit of praising, because whether it was a conscious decision, whether it was a gut feeling, whether it just doesn't feel right signing up one of these lesser managers, it's going to pay dividends. There's no doubt about it. Pav, great call as ever, mate. Thank you very much for coming on and having your say this morning. Top man. David Ornstein says it's far from done on Sky Sports. Well, I think it's really interesting. There's so many contrary and contradictory reports in relation to him. I've seen that since I've been live. I've seen that from David Ornstein, that he said it is far from done. Tancredi Palmari has said the personal terms are done and agreed. There are some that believe that the deal is just done. It's a formality now, that things have just got to be signed. Everybody is reporting on slightly different information, giving slightly different views. However, David Heitner and Alistair Gold, who are very close to the club, very close to Daniel Levy, the way they have reported on it, it looks all but done. Formalities now need to be signed. But as we learned yesterday from Christoph, there are lots of journalists who don't like to go with done deal until it's... So it's interesting. I see Fabrizio get called a tap-in merchant. And that's because the likes of Fabrizio now they've learned to not say done deal until it is literally about to be tapped in, because they get a lot of abuse when it goes the other way. So if, for instance, Daniel Levy contacts one of his trusted journalists and says, listen, the deal's done, he's flying to England now to sign a deal, he does an article on it in the Guardian or the Mirror or the Express. I don't even know who they work for, but anyway, like, it's done. And then Antonio Conte arrives in London and changes his mind. That journalist is going to get a lot of crap online. So there are some now that just sit back and they sit away from that. They don't like to put their necks on the line in that way, because fans have become a little bit toxic with it. It's almost like it's the journalist's fault. You got my hopes up. Well, learn how the football transfer market has always worked. Deals can be agreed, they can change. That's why I just embrace it as it's fun. It's all fun and games. I enjoy it. It's the thrill. For me, the transfer window, if you never want to be disappointed by it, just invest yourself in it for the thrill of the chase. I look at it like this way. When it comes to transfer news, I'm like a dog chasing a car. I don't know what I would do with it if I ever caught it. I just enjoy chasing it. That's all it is for me. That way I can't ever be hurt or disappointed. Let's get more calls here this morning. We're going to get Mo on. Mo's a Man United fan. What are you saying, buddy?
Hi, good morning, sir. How are you? You're right.
I'm very, very well. What do you want to say, my guy?
I think with Sancho, the Sancho deal and the Varane deal, I'm still 50-50. I still think we still have the same people in charge of the football club. They've got a new sport director. You've got Darren Fletcher. Sancho, maybe it might happen. Varane, I'm not so sure. The last 8 years, Man United have failed to deliver in transfer windows. They can't get their targets. There's always third, fourth choice they get, as LVG said, and that's why we are where we are today. We can't get the players in. We always get second, third best. We can't get the deals done for some reason. We chase a player all summer, and then what happens in the end? Nothing happens. That's Man United for you. I personally think if the Sancho deal doesn't come off this year and they can't get him, there's going to be major problems at the football club. I'm talking about protests, riots, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a lot of heat coming on Ollie, and this could maybe he could lose his job, Terry, if he doesn't get the targets he needs, and they get like third, fourth choice players. By December, he's gone because this team is not good enough, and this team is not good enough to challenge for top four now. Because of City's going to go and spend. City's owner has said that he's going to go and get first team players. Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, Chelsea. Well, they won the Champions League, so they're good. They're going to get Addo 1-2 more. Liverpool are already strengthening, so that's 3 places, Terry, that we have to improve on. And Spurs with Conte, which is most likely if they get him. Everyone's strengthening. We have to. This is very important transfer window for Ollie. If, as I said, if he doesn't get it right, he's done. If he can't get Sancho, Varane, and a holding CDM, then you're going to see McFred. You're going to see Ahmad getting pushed in there with Greenwood. Raphael, if his form doesn't pick up after the Euros and he starts the way he started at the end of the season, there's a big problem, Terry. And Pogba, I don't know about Pogba. You got the Pogba contract situation. What's happening with that?
We don't know yet. And do you know, I think the Pogba. Listen, I get the frustration. I just got to say, relax with it right now. There's a long summer ahead. I think that you've got to remember, in fairness to Man United, who else has done a major deal? Listen, Liverpool got the Konate deal in, but they started working on the Konate deal months ago. That wasn't a deal that's picked up as of now. A lot of clubs didn't want to start the negotiation process for the sale of their players before the end of the season. It's anticipated in the industry that there will be no major moves between now and the end of the Euros, or a team going out of the Euros. So if France was to go out of the group stages, you may see a pickup in the Varane situation, the Pogba situation early. Pogba isn't going to sign a new deal until he decides what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Likes of Juve are still inquiring about him. Juve are still trying to get a deal done.
Yeah.
There's talk about a kind of partial swap deal with Ronaldo joining Man United. And
Would you
Pogba
go for that?
the situation. Until Man United know what they want, and until Pogba knows what he wants, there isn't going to be a resolution. And I do think Man United are looking at Paul Pogba and thinking, do you really want to stay? Do you really want to be here? If the answer ends up being no, he doesn't, then they may use him to cash in on him to use that money to buy targets elsewhere. So it's all a little bit up in the air at the minute. The Euros is definitely in the way. And I'm not trying to defend Man United.
No.
Everybody's kind of in that same
I understand.
boat. And I think where we were given misinformation as fans is that there were some deals that were meant to get done before the Euro started. That now appears to be completely false. There was never an expectation for that. So I would just say, I know we don't trust the Glazers. Let's remain a little bit more relaxed and understand that the Euro starts in, 7 days' time or less, 7-8 days' time. Until that point, it's very unlikely that there'll be a resolution with any of these deals, as most players don't even want to discuss them at this point. They want to focus on the tournament. Mo, but great call as ever, mate. Thanks for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it. Next on the show, we're going to have Zubby CFC, who's a Chelsea fan. Before I do that, though, make sure you're hitting that like button, people. 1,200 of you watching live right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to the Football Terrace, and turn on the bell notifications as well. Zubby CFC is here. What are you saying, mate?
Hi, Terry. I just want to say 3 things, man. Conte, I think that's a good deal for Tottenham. But if they're not going to spend the money that he's going to want them to spend, then he's just gonna go by, say, December, January. He's gonna leave. Then on the Sancho and Varane, I think that's 2 amazing star players for United. I think Varane and Maguire together, that's like Vidic and Rio reincarnated. But for me, I feel if you still have Ole there next season, are you really going to be a title challenger? That's just my thing. I don't think Ole is the one to bring you a title or even win you an FA Cup.
Listen, I it's 2 things, isn't it? But what are you saying in that? So I kind of agree with you on the Ole thing, but I still want to sign the best players possible.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And Sancho, for me, I think he deserves to go to Manchester United, not to City, not even my team, because I think we have too many players in his position, and it will just be sad if he goes to my team. But I think he deserves to go to United, and I hope they get him. I just want to. I'm a Chelsea fan, but I also want to see United and other player teams, except for Arsenal, to strengthen the team and
I hear
where they need to be.
I think it's one of those things for me. If we sign what excites me about getting the right players is we get a complete answer to the question whether Ollie's good enough or not, because it's still a debate amongst Man United fans. Whether Ollie outers or Ollie inners want to hear it, it's still up for debate. There is still unanswered questions for everybody. If he has the adequate squad, then nobody can defend him. Nobody can defend him. You know, if he fails, as an example. But at least then we know. You know, and at the very least, if it doesn't work, then the new manager coming in comes into a very good squad, rather than a squad that we still look at and say, oh, there's still all these holes in it. Robert, thank you very much for your call. Really appreciate it, my top man. Thank you. There's a comment here that I need to go to that says, Sancho only 8 goals and 11 assists this season. Terry makes out he scored 20 goals and 20 assists. He got 16 goals and 20 assists this season. You're deliberately discounting what he did in the domestic cups and in the Champions League as well. What you're also not taking into consideration that he only played 26 league games this year because of injuries, normally averaging around 35. So he was 9 games short of the volume of matches that he played last year. And he definitely had a slow start to the season after the disappointment of not getting his move away. There is no doubt about it, but he still had a very productive season. 16 goals and 20 assists is absolutely colossal. And you can tell that Man United are getting closer to signing Jadon Sancho, because the amount of tweets and comments I now see about how overhyped he is and how he isn't great is beautiful. Honest to God, I'm just gonna save all the salt and put it on my fish and chips every Friday night. 110%. 110%. Get your comments in, people. We're going to go to some more calls here. KJ still to come to give us his thoughts and feelings this morning. Next up, I want to pronounce the name right. I think it's Arhan, who's going to be on the show with us this morning. Welcome, buddy. How do I say your name right?
Ihan, that's how you pronounce my name.
Ihan. Okay, I got it there, my friend.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me at first?
I can hear you. What do you want to say, buddy?
Okay, so I want to touch on Varane and Jadon Sancho situation. So I'm still 50-50 whether if you are going to get Jadon Sancho or not, because like you see, like in previous transfer window, like last season we are supposed to get Sancho, but in the end, who do we get? We get Pelestri, and we also get Ahmad Diallo. So that's why me getting us getting Sancho or either us getting Varane is still a bit of no. Then Varane, I'm not sure, because there are clubs like PSG who are wanting to sign him. Then there's potential. From what I believe, if let's say another club chooses to go for another MUFC target, right, then the player is most likely going to go to the other club. For example, Declan Rice, he nearly went to Chelsea last season, but United fans want to sign him, but he nearly went to Chelsea last season. You get what I mean, right, Terry?
No.
No.
Yeah, say that again?
No, like what I say from Declan Rice, many United fans want him last season, right?
Yes.
But in the end, he was favourite to go to Chelsea last season. So we can't seem to get this type of deals done.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Declan Rice situation is really interesting. It's the money. Man United do not have £80 million, which is the quoted £80 to £90 million is the quoted price for Declan Rice. Man United do not have those funds available to spend on a midfield player. So that's the reason why we can't look. In fairness, Chelsea haven't pushed ahead with that deal for the same reason, because although they have huge amounts of money, it's still too much of a dent into their budget that they set aside for player expenses. It would need somebody to be sold. The problem is that neither club at the moment have a deal on the table for players to be sold that, one, free up the space and raise the funds to get that done. Now, as we mentioned earlier with Pogba, if Pogba says, I actually want to leave, and a club offers 70, 80 million pound for him, United have a budget of around 30 to 40 million pound for a midfielder. You suddenly sell Paul Pogba for 60, 70 million. You then have the money to maybe go and look at a Declan Rice or an Ndidi to bolster up the middle, as an example. So for Man United this summer, along with a lot of teams, there is a necessity to sell potentially before you buy, to take that into consideration. My guy, thank you very much for calling in and having your say. Top man. Thank you, sir. Next, KJ still to come, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Aaron on first. Aaron, the Donny fan, is here. What you saying, mate?
I'm not too bad, mate. After getting the news that a couple of our players are going to be leaving and not signing new contracts was quite not upsetting, but like Reece James was our player of the season. Well, basically the situation was he would only go to a championship club, otherwise he'd stay with us. He's got an offer for a championship club, so he's going to go to them, whoever it is. So we'll find out who in the next couple of weeks. And Brad Halliday, who's been shit this season, is basically asking for more money. So we said, no, and we'll let you go. You've had a shit season. You're not asking for more wages. So we're being ruthless. But on the Conte situation, look, I think Spurs are onto a winner here with Conte. I think maybe not the league, maybe not Europe, but I think Conte could be Tottenham's best shot at a trophy. And I think Tottenham fans right now will take that. Like, we can take a trophy. I don't care whether it's the Carabao Cup or a pre-season tournament in Asia or something like that. We'll take it. It's a trophy. But I think what Conte will do, though, I mean, you look at the situation what happened with Chelsea as well. Conte sort of, going into that second season after he just won on the Premier League, he was frustrated about, the less amount of transfers going into that season. And of course, he didn't exactly help himself sometimes with tactics and end up, leaving at the end of that season. So I think what Conte will do is he will demand the money to have what it takes to succeed at Tottenham. And what ENIC and Levy have to do is grow some bollocks and actually back the manager. Because what they didn't do was they didn't give Poch at times the right tools to take them up another level. They didn't give Mourinho sometimes the tools to take him up to another level, but Mourinho didn't exactly help himself. But I think Conte will demand the money for success. So that's how I look at it with that one. With Raphael Varane, I'll tell you something now. Man United need to get this deal done. £40 million, I don't care what it is, £50 million. If the Glazers want to prove to fans, I'm not saying they do because they're pagans, shout out to KJ, the pagans. If the Glazers want to do what they said, and that is, we're generally sorry. We're sorry about this Super League shit. We're going to help you. We're going to back your team. We're going to do this, this, and this. If you're going to do that, get Sancho, get Varane, get a couple more players in, and actually challenge for a trophy. Don't just say top 4 and that's that. Actually go for a trophy to keep fans satisfactory with the Glazers. They're never going to support the Glazers. They're always going to support Man United and not the Glazers. But to keep it satisfactory, actually go out and do the business, back Ole Gunnar Solskjær to compete for a trophy. But then if Ole Gunnar Solskjær turns around and doesn't have the tactics to compete for a trophy, after all the backing, he's got nowhere to hide. So the Glazers have to sort of help themselves in the situation rather than just help Ole Gunnar Solskjær. On Jadon Sancho, like I said, get that deal done. Because if he goes to a Chelsea or goes back to City or goes to a Liverpool or a different club, and if Varane goes to a different club, I don't think it'll be PSG. I don't think it'll be that at all. I don't believe the Ronaldo links to PSG either. But if Varane goes to a different club as well, it just proves what we've known for the last 15 years. The Glazers are terrorizing Manchester United. That's the way I see it. But big up yourself, Terry. Big up the Terrace. We go into pre-season in July. We're going to see what we do. But like I said, man, basically the situation is Reece James, one of your former academy players, who's been great this season, by the way, just to give you an update. Basically, it was championship or stay at Rovers. He's going to the championship. We don't know who yet. We'll find out in a couple of weeks. And Brad Halliday, who's had a shit season at right back, basically said, I want more money. And we said, no, we're going to get a better right back than you. So he's going to go to Fleetwood. Best of luck to him, and we'll see what happens. But it's the first sign of ruthlessness. If you need to rebuild, go and show ruthlessness.
Absolutely. Aaron, thanks very much, mate. Really appreciate that, my guy. Thank you. Daniel here with a super chat says, Spurs feel like a club without an identity. All other candidates play expansive football, but Conte is the opposite. Levy and Conte will butt heads. Do you know what? I do understand that train of thought. I do feel, though, that people are being overtly negative about Conte to Spurs, and they are focusing on what could go wrong as opposed to looking at what could go right. I saw we had nearly every single person that isn't a Spurs fan that's phoned up. What if it goes wrong? What if he falls out with the ownership? What if he doesn't get backed? What if? Cool. What if it goes well like it did at Inter? What if it goes well like it did at Juve? What if it goes well up until, by the way, and I think Chelsea got it wrong with Antonio Conte, which is the reason why they had a big overhaul in terms of the operation behind the scenes, right? In terms of the people making the decisions around buying and selling, all changed after Conte. Or unless I'm mistaken in that, or they changed very soon after. Chelsea made a mistake with Antonio Conte by not giving him what he wants. But what if it goes right at Tottenham? What if it goes right? You are correct to say what it goes wrong, but you're not looking at the other side of that coin. And if it goes right, it's an amazing gamble. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. KJ's coming on with us now. Keep your comments coming in. Get your super chats in as well. Thanks to everyone for having me on the show. Much appreciated. Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. We are the only fan channel that every single day gives fans the opportunity to have their say, express their opinion, challenge what we think and feel and say. Nowhere else does that for you. Simple facts. Simple facts. Safe. You keep saying send you the link. The link goes out in the Discord server. So go check it out over there, bruv. I'm not your slave. Because you're on the Discord server because I see you post on there, bruv. So and now look, as if by magic. As if by magic. Oh, actually, I think KJ might have posted the link in the comments behind the scenes, but there we go. Now, make safe, go and get it, bruv. This guy knows, stalks me. He's got to go get it. You have to wait, though, because KJ's coming on now. KJ, morning, mates. Positive news today about Raphael Varane and really interesting news about Jadon Sancho.
How interesting is it that the night before, the morning before, a certain pagan has to go and speak to the fans that all this news comes out? Interesting. Now, only because the fan forums today and these news coming out doesn't mean it's any less true. That's what the Muppeteer says, you know what I mean? So yeah, they're good signs. They're good signs. And on reflection, when Christoph said about no one's going to be making any signings before the Euros, that point in perspective for me is like, okay, cool. If that's the case, then there's no point of stressing right now about the Sancho deal because everyone's not going to be signing players, you know what I mean? So when it's after the Euros, we will start to see what Man United are about, especially with these deals like Varane, like Sancho, like Trippier, who looks like he might be on his way as well, because those three players improve the team massively. Varane will be a starting centre-back alongside Maguire, who would complement him better than Lindelof and is more fit than Bailly. Jadon Sancho is Jadon Sancho, you know what he's going to do around side. And then Kieran Trippier could push Aaron Wan-Bissaka or even overtake him. That's how much of a competition he would actually be for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He could easily take his place. He'll be better against low block teams. He'll be good on set pieces as well. Another set piece taker at the club. You know what I mean? So these are the right kind of moves and deals that Man United should be going for. Again, it's just about the trust of the club to get it done. We will see what that pagan has to say during the fan forum. I don't see anything new coming out. Probably just the same old stereotypical PR kind of answers coming out. We care about the development of the club. We're sorry about the things we've done. We're trying to try and make it up to do blah, 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 blah. But we don't care what they have to say until we see some positive action with that.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, I don't even know. Do you have to have the app or be a member to watch it?
I have no idea how it works. Don't even know the time. Like even,
and that's the irony of it, bruv. That you probably find that you have to download their app, which is how they make money, by the way, marketing, advertising, to watch it. So if you're truly Glazer out, you shouldn't be watching the forum because you're going to have to subscribe to something Man United based to get access. Because same with the press conferences. It's why one of the reasons why I stopped doing press conference reactions, because to watch the press conference, you have to subscribe to live. You have to subscribe to something that gives Man United money. So you can't be Glazer out and watch press conference. Like in terms of, you can't profess to be, I'm not giving money to the Glazers and then pay to watch the press conferences. It don't make sense to me.
Yeah, like, I'm just going to be waiting for
I can do it to myself, you know.
Yeah, I'm just going to be waiting for the notice to come out on Twitter, because you know someone's going to be putting it out there and everything.
Yeah. Journalists will go and do that. Do you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And it's fair dues. But look, the Jadon Sancho news was the one I was really when I listened to Christoph yesterday and I saw this news this morning from Laurie Whitwell, I did think of you, because it's interesting. You know what the Muppeteers said this morning about how the media will sometimes put out a higher price than the deal's actually being negotiated for. They also have this habit of holding back information, in the sense of they put out half the facts. So Man United are negotiating over the price of Sancho. The price, the base transfer is £80 million, and the guy are trying to negotiate that down. That makes us all go Glazeronomics, because we're used to that. It then turns out that isn't what we're trying. We're happy to pay £80 million. That isn't the issue. Dortmund are the ones trying to add an additional £20 million add-ons on. So instead of the media saying Dortmund have suddenly upped the price to 100 million and Man United trying to work it down, that would make us all relaxed. But they don't. You get where I'm coming from? They present it in a way that makes us look bad, and then the way it gets dropped in there. But even this morning, none of the big Man United accounts that have shared the Laurie Whitwell news have mentioned that add-on part. Not that I've seen. I'm like, why would you leave that bit out? That for me is the most crucial bit of information. Do you get where I'm coming from? And it's sort of like
it's like you say, we as United fans, we live off the negative stories about our football club, whether it be Ollie, the negative stories about Ollie, people take that about some players. In my case, it's anything negative about the owners. I will jump on that and be ready to fight in it. But yeah, like obviously the media is playing their game. And to be fair, we shouldn't be surprised. This is how they make their money. This is how they get their clicks, and this is how they have us on strings, as we like to say in it. But yeah, like if the United trying to get add-ons in their favor or trying to get add-ons taken away, like I can understand. That I can understand. If it was me, would I just put those add-ons in straight away? Probably, but I'm a fan. You know what I mean? So of course I would. So I understand them trying to make sure that if you're gonna have add-ons, it's not as easy as just he plays 20 games and you get 5 million. You know what I mean? Something ridiculous of those kind of proportions. We already know that we're strapped for cash as it is. Having add-ons that are easily achievable don't help the situation. If the Lukaku deal and our money from there came over, I would be more like, cool, just put add-ons in, but we're still waiting for revenue streams from other places, let alone us giving out money to clubs for a player doing what a player should do.
Yeah, and that needs to be spoken about, and as you say, taken into consideration, simply because, there are some deals sometimes out there. I remember when Barcelona were trying to get Coutinho, some of the initial, they wanted to offer like £50 million up front, and the add-ons were ridiculous. It was like Philippe Coutinho would have had to have been like the top goal scorer at the club win the Champions League, and him win the Ballon d'Or all in the same year to get like £30 million of an add-on. And it's like, why would Liverpool agree to that? Even like even if Coutinho would have been amazing, the likelihood of all those things happening at the same time is so minuscule, you're never going to get your money. And you'll find that Dortmund obviously will want to be able to get their money as easy as possible. And Man United are going to try and make it as hard as possible. And I understand that point. What's interesting is that this £20 million add-on thing, I haven't seen it anywhere up until now. So it's, as you say, it's going to be intriguing to see how that kind of works out. The Raphael Varane deal, as you say, it just keeps rearing its head, doesn't it? It keeps being spoken about. It keeps being discussed. It keeps
that one's 50-50 for me. That one's like, he could easily, if we do it, I think if we do it, that's a masterstroke. I think if we end up doing it, but it's one of those ones. If we don't, I'm not going to be angry or annoyed, because it's kind of like he's a top quality player. No one expected him to leave Real Madrid, and when you've got PSG also knocking on the door, for him to return to France, for him to play in a team where he's guaranteed the league instead of a team that you're gonna have to fight for it, I would understand then. So I wouldn't be too annoyed about what happens with Varane, because it is what it is. Kieran Trippier, if that goes through or doesn't go through, I'll be slightly like, oh come on, like United, that's a deal that you should be able to get done. Like, get a player returning to England. He's from Manchester as well, or Manchester area. That should be an easy deal. But there are other options to go for a right back. So for me, Jadon Sancho is the main one to be to be focused on. And if anything goes right or wrong with it, the most praise or the most ridicule for those deals. But yo, the way everything that was lining up last night, did you see Rashford's management team, Rashford with his post with Sancho, the way that everything was falling, like even people said, like Romano came out and say you should hear an update on Sancho in a few days. Your orders in the no accounts, you know what I'm saying, there'll be a big Sancho update soon. There was going to be movement today, or at least this weekend anyway. So it's nice it's good to hear that United are trying to get this deal done.
Yeah, they are, and I think this is they are trying to get it done. It's the priority signing. It's where the majority of the focus and the money is being pointed towards as well. And I think that's quite key for people to sort of understand that they are looking to do it. They are looking to get it done. There's no doubt about it at all in relation to that. Antonio Conte is drawing closer as well, KJ. And all I keep hearing from rivals, Chelsea fans, Arsenal fans, United fans is they almost, it's all I'm hearing is negatives, really and truly, from the majority of people. Do you think that's a bit of fear that Spurs might be pulling off a bit of a coup, or do you think it's going to be a disaster?
It's definitely a shock. Like if they actually do, I'll just sit there and be like, I can't believe they did it. Because I didn't, after Jose Mourinho, I did not think that a top manager would even want to go there, seeing how Levy operates. Would you question why on earth would you want to go there? It's not like it's a Man United where the name's big and the brand is big. So even if you go there and flop because the Glazers are pagans, you can still be like, well, my name's going to be elevated just for being the manager. You know what I mean? Spurs is not the case. Like Spurs is a relatively smaller club compared to the gargantuan clubs of Europe. So if they manage to get Conte fresh off winning not Champions League, a Serie A title, that's a massive move. That's a big move. But like I said before, it's the last roll of the dice for Levy. Because if this one doesn't work out, it's going to be peak. Do I think it's going to be a disaster? I feel like you kind of repeat with what I kind of did with Jose. It will start off well. People will get happy. People will be gassed. People will be like, all right, cool, we can do something. And then when it's time for Levy to put his hands in the pocket to make Spurs better, to make sure that they are competing, I can just see the mistakes fall again. You know what I mean? Mistakes everywhere. And to be fair, it'd be more reflection on Levy than it is Conte, because I don't think Conte will be toxic with the dressing room and with some of the playing staff. I don't think it'd be that. I think it'll be more of Levy making it hard for him. He will kick off with Levy and then say, screw it, like what's the point of being here? So yeah, like it's gonna be interesting. Even there was a report to say though that Sky Italia saying that Conte is not convinced about the job because he can't win something immediately. So he's gonna be waiting till Monday to make his decision. So this is gonna be an interesting weekend for Spurs fans. A lot of anticipation, a lot of anxiety, and if they don't get him, that'll just be another nail in the coffin for Levy and Enoch.
Yeah, I mean, it's the last chance saloon thing is right, which is why I think if they've got to get it right. They've got to get it right. They've got to back him. You know, they have to. If it goes wrong, they've got to be able to walk away and say we did everything we could. We got him the players that he wanted. Within reason, like Antonio Conte, something that Christoph said yesterday, Antonio Conte is not stupid. He knows that going to Spurs, there isn't the same resource, there isn't the same desire to win, and there isn't the same expectation to win or chance of winning as there was at Chelsea, as there was at Juve, even to a degree than there was at Inter Milan. But it is a different type of challenge. And, you know, you won't have Conte won't go to Tottenham and with what they have to compete against in England and think, I will win the league with you inside 2 years. Not with how good Chelsea have become, not with Liverpool, not with Man City doing what they're doing, but expectations depending on the club and the country that you're in change. You know, if you become the PSG manager, you're expected without fail to win that league title. There is no shadow of a doubt. And if Barcelona and Real Madrid, they expect you to win that league title and to do very, very well in Europe as an example. I think when you join an English club like Tottenham, top 4 qualification and trophies would be, for me, the ceiling. Like, in terms of, as long as you're doing that, the football club is happy. And actually, if he say he stayed there 3 years and he qualified for the Champions League 3 times, won 2 League Cups and an FA Cup, or 1 League Cup, 1 Europa League, and an FA Cup. Do people realize for Spurs, that's gargantuan? That would just be like beyond their wild. This club's won like 3 trophies in 50 odd years, 3 or 4 trophies in 50 odd years. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's horses for courses, right? And I think Antonio Conte is probably aware of that in terms of the expectations that he would push out and try and move forward. But yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting next few weeks. And transfer news will definitely slow down as we move into next week, because players are not going to be allowed to leave to go and do medicals. The one thing about Jadon Sancho that Christoph did say yesterday is England's base is in England, where only with Euros, everybody flies to a particular country, so that makes it harder. The same as, the Spain are in Spain and Germans are in Germany. So if there's some internal domestic moves, although Sancho would be going from a German club to an English club, it's a lot easier for Man United to maybe take Sancho away for 3 or 4 hours and do a medical if we're all in London anyway. Do you know what I mean? Just go to a hospital, do it. So there is the potential it goes through. And I think what may happen, if Man United were today to make a breakthrough with Dortmund and they put the bid in, or say it was in, say, a week's time, you might find Southgate would just say, do you know what? It's actually better for the team to allow Sancho to go, get it done, sign on the dotted line and come back, and then have a clear mind if things escalate. But listen, I'm relaxed on it now after what Christoph said to us yesterday. He's fairly, he's how credible he is. He literally said to me, once we're finished on here, I'm going to phone Antonio Conte to see what's going on. So the man's got Antonio Conte's number and is allowed to phone him. So I'm trusting what he's telling me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, the whole thing with Sancho being at Euro is like teams can send, well, because it's in England, United could just send a medical team to the camp and get that done. Wouldn't take too long. If they want to do a press release and get photos of him in the shirt and stuff, they can easily hire a studio out in London, get a media team, quickly take the photos, take a quick video, and then leave. You know what I mean? So they don't even actually have to go to Manchester to complete all this stuff. That all they need to do is literally just stay where they are, stay in London, boom, do a little 1s and 2s, and then leave. So this deal could be it's not going to, I don't think it will be, but it could be done during the Euros. Or maybe you saw what we saw with Romelu Lukaku when we signed him, that they released a news article on the website saying we've reached a deal with Everton for Lukaku, and then we didn't see him in the shirt until was it World Cup year or Euros year that year? It might be Euros year that year.
It was 2016.
Yeah, it was
Sorry.
It was a competition. There was a
it would have been Euros. It was 2016. I can't quite remember that. It could be. Do you think that after all this build-up with the social media presence that Sancho has, do you get the feeling that Man United also might want to do a bit of a Pogba, where there is the rumors are going on, and then the news drops with the intro video? In terms of, do you think Man United will want to build up a massive buzz around this? Because and I don't know, have him and Dave do a music video.
Yeah, that would be the dream. I know. I get that. That's the one thing I worry about in terms of, do they actually think about these things when doing deals? Like, so instead of getting a deal done and then being like, right, cool, how can we do the media story? Is it, how can we get the media, how can we get the social media clicks? How can we make this grand entrance? And then be like, oh yeah, we actually have to sign him first. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can see that happening. So if that's the case, then they'll probably will wait until after the Euros so they can do this massive reveal and social media campaign. And the biggest one will be, what number will he get? Because obviously the number 7 is with Cavani. Will Cavani give that up? Would they give him another number until Cavani leaves so he can get the 7? There's a lot of media stuff that Man United love to do, social media, PR things, and I feel like that's my one worry, that I feel like that gets in the way sometimes, instead of actually just being like, right, let's just get the player, and the media stuff will take care of itself.
It does. I suppose it's I wouldn't want us to prioritize the PR stuff at the behest of losing the deal. But if you actually go back and read about the Pogba thing, it was agreed weeks, like it was all formally agreed to. That nobody could have taken him away from us. It was a case of it's done. We're going to keep it under wraps so we can release it. So if Man United today agree it all and go, listen, but we're just not going to announce it until after the Euros because we want to do a massive announcement with a big splash. Having said that, barring, like, I think Paul Pogba done well at Man United. Quite a few of the big announcements that we've done, it hasn't really worked out too well with the players. So maybe just keep it short, sharp, and sweet. Get the player in. Don't build the hype up. It maybe is a good thing.
Because if we do another, because we had Stormzy Pogba, if we do it like a Dave Sancho, and he doesn't work out, forget Thomas Partey, bro. The Sancho banner would be peak, fam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 110%. We're going to go to some more calls now. Some of you waiting backstage to come on and have your say right now. We're going to bring into the show AJ Paul to have his say. AJ, who do you support? You're on mute if you're trying to talk, my guy.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Who do you support, AJ?
I'm a United fan.
What do you want to say?
Okay. So I'm partially happy about the Sancho deal and the Varane deal, although I'm not really happy until they put on the shirt, until I see them in the shirt, because this will just be like I don't get my hopes up like the last summer transfer window, where all of us were disappointed at the end of the transfer window. So I'm just waiting till the whole deal is confirmed. But I'm happy with the progress and the news we're seeing online. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. But one thing I'm concerned about is will Ole be able to use, let's say he gets all his targets, will he still be able to use these players to perform next season? I have no.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question. We don't know, and I think that's the beauty of it. If he gets the players he wants, there is no more excuses. No more excuses in the world that can defend him. If we have just signed Varane, we signed Basuma, we signed Sancho, we keep all our stars. I'm just throwing those names out there. There is no. Trippier comes in as cover at fullback. There is no excuse to not improve again on last season. There is no excuses for that. Of course, there's context within a season where you can lose some semi-finals or finals to great teams. And if Man United would have lost a cup final to City, I don't think people would be as angry as losing it the way we did to Villarreal. But the question will definitely be answered. AJ, thanks for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate that, buddy. Next up on the show, Abs is with us this morning. How's it going, mate?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Very, very well. What have you phoned up to say, my friend?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the Conte thing, because obviously the last couple of days I've heard lots of people with different views. The one thing that people haven't brought up is, isn't it strange? I feel like Conte needs Tottenham more than Tottenham needs Conte, just because, except for Tottenham, who else is going to hire Conte? Real Madrid is not, because it's too volatile. Barcelona are not. Atletico Madrid have already got a Conte type person. This is the only big job out there that he could actually go for. Obviously Arsenal, but we all know things like that. So it's very interesting that I feel like he needs to make this work and show that he's not a problem, sort of at the backroom sort of side of it. So, which is the bit I'm sort of interested to see.
Mate, I hear you. I think there's so many layers and elements to this Conte deal which are intriguing to me. What I do know, which is factual, is that in the last 7 years that he's been a league manager, he's won 5 of the titles. He's the second best domestic. If he joins Tottenham, he is then the second best domestic manager in the league. Facts. And what he would deliver with Tottenham, nobody knows. But they will suddenly have, in my opinion, Spurs will be hiring the best manager in their Premier League history. Now, Jose Mourinho is the best they've hired in terms of CV, but he was past his best. So you know what I mean? He isn't the best. Do you know what I mean? The best boxer from 30 years ago is no longer the best boxer just because he was then. Do you get where I'm coming from? So this would be the best appointment Spurs have ever made, and it's all on them. It's on Spurs for me to deliver for Antonio Conte to make him deliver. That's my view on it, bro.
That's the weirdest thing because we all know, and I think Tottenham fans know, they're not going to deliver. That's why it's very interesting to see why Conte would go to Tottenham, because they're not going to. They're not a checkbook club, and it's just going to be very interesting. Let's just say that.
Oh yeah, definitely interesting. Definitely an interesting deal that I'm intrigued to see what happens. There's no doubt about it at all. Abs, thanks very much for coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man. Thank you. Next on the show, True Red Devil is here. What you saying, True Red Devil?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah, all good, all good. Oh, Russell, how you doing, mate? What news are you here to speak about this morning?
I wanted to speak about the Varane and Sancho thing.
Go for it. Raphael Varane. Varane. How encouraged are you by that, mate?
So encouraged, man. So encouraged. But then this is the thing, it's every season since the Antoine Griezmann transfer. I'm always like KJ, man. I'm 50-50. I'm like, I want to believe you, but you've let me down a couple of times. But what gives me hope in this
Can we just clarify something, that you're talking about Man United and not me?
No, definitely Man United, not you, buddy.
Yeah, go on, mate, go on.
But anyways, what really makes me happy though, or what gives me so much hope right now, is the fact that it's Oli. And I'm here for the Oli outers or the Oli bashers and everything. They remind me of Kardashian fans, yeah? Kim Kardashian is probably one of the most followed person on Instagram. But if you ask people about Kim Kardashian, they'll tell you, oh, she's horrible, she's this, she's that. The same people who make her are the ones who complain about her. And it's the same thing with Oli. I'll tell you why. Because for a long time, we've complained about the kind of signings that our managers make. And there's no one who can tell me that any manager has signed better players or more Man United players than Ole Gunnar Solskjær. So Ole does all these things that are right. If you look at the Varane and Sancho, for instance, these are the names that we want to hear. I don't want to hear about no Perisic or I don't know who Jose wanted to sign or what Van Gaal was signing. No one even knows about that. The players that Ole is signing, no one can deny that this guy has an eye for Man United players, and he got a new deal. So these are the things, the small things that are giving me hope. I'm like, okay, maybe because he got a new deal, and I trust his eye. I'm not so 100% sure in terms of his managing and his coaching, but I definitely trust his eye for players in terms of Man United. That gives me hope. On top of that, we'll probably have a spine made up of France's best team. Best players. If you look at it, that's Varane in the centre back, Pogba, Martial. Yeah, man, Martial. So interested, man.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I think for me, the biggest, I've said it a few times on the show and I stand by it. I think the biggest thing that stands out for me is how it takes away, I know what KJ thinks of this, it takes away the excuses from the Oli inners anyway. Listen, if we win something with all these new signings we're linked with, the Oli outers will still say, well, it's only because of individual brilliance. There's no winning with them. The Oli outers are in the best position possible for a debate, where if we sign great players and we win, it's because of the players. If we sign great players and we lose, it's because of the manager. And that's just them. So put them aside for a minute. But anyone that defends Oli on a regular basis, you can't anymore, KJ, if you sign these players and he still doesn't deliver something that we're really proud of.
No, like you can't. Oli is what Oli is. And so if you're not supporting him with the best, then what can you really expect him to do? Like, if you already think he's a rubbish manager, how can you then expect him to achieve with not a fantastic squad? Once he gets a fantastic squad, then it's like, right, cool. You have no excuse not to do something. And I personally believe that with a fantastic squad, he still might struggle. I just feel like in the league, there are better managers tactically out there than him. In the competitions that we'll be in terms of the Champions League, he would have come against managers with more experience of Champions League football. So it's going to be tough for him, even with a top squad. Do I want him to do it though? Hell yeah, because I want Man United to win, and that means if he's winning, we're winning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I
for
think
me,
this season he's got a lot to prove, especially if we get all the players that we apparently are linked to.
and that's the bigger picture though, KJ, you know. So if he doesn't make it, it goes back to the point that the players that he has brought to Man United are good enough for us to be like, okay, look, you've got really good players. This has been your third season. Your recruitment was great, but your managing is not so great. So for that reason alone, I still want him to stay, because I'm pretty sure we'll get some good players. Whereas if he leaves right now, then we're going through this reset button, and then some players go, some players come. And I think in terms of our squad, in terms of how we're building our squad, we're on the right path. So give him the season, let him get the players, judge him after that season. And then if you're bringing in another manager, he's finding a squad that's ready to challenge, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why fans have to look beyond the end of their nose and their own agendas and think more about the club than themselves. And I've already, the closer these rumors get, the more I see Ollie outers get triggered. So every time I see some positive news about Man United, you see a lot of negative things about Ollie, and that's because it's a bit like the Sancho parody. If Sancho's linked to anybody but Man United, he's top class. Suddenly he's overrated because he's linked with Manchester United. Arsenal fans go through this. If Villa sign Buendia, it will be wow, what a player. If Arsenal sign him, it will be you can only attract championship players. That's because of the way football minds work. We're fickle, but we're so deep rooted in rivalry and tribalism, even within our own clubs these days.
Yeah.
Can't help but present things in that way. So from my point of view, I want us to sign the best players possible, because that's the best thing we can do as a football club. And then you just hope that the manager's good enough. Like with Ollie, I just hope that he's then good enough to get a tune out of them. And if he isn't, the answer then should be clear that we have to go on to a bigger and better manager. There's still a lot of conjecture and a lot of challenge that your squad isn't good enough, isn't where it needs to be. And I'm pretty sure if we signed a manager who everybody was universally happy with, you would suddenly see that the needle change, and people say, actually, we've got these holes in our squad that need to be fixed first and foremost. Like it's crazy. But listen, Russell, thanks for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it.
Man. Have a good day.
Thank you. Terry, never forget, good evening. Thank you, Mo. I appreciate that. We're going to get Darren on to have you say here. Darren, what you saying, buddy?
Yo, guys, what's good, man?
Yeah, all good, my guy. What do you want to say this morning?
Yeah. Yeah, as you guys know, obviously I've been pushing this slight agenda of Chelsea are gonna come and sneak in and around the back door and try to snatch this Sancho deal. But I can't lie, with you guys talking and all the news popping up, I have to admit it does look like he's probably gonna go to United. And I'll be honest, if he goes to United, a part of me is like worried. I'm not saying you guys are going to win the league or anything like that, but, and even as with Ole as a coach, I feel like when you guys have all those players, you manage to keep Pogba, the likes of Pogba and the rest, I honestly see Man United actually doing something next season. When you got all those quality players, Bruno, Sancho, Cavani, Rashford, Martial's even, he could even be a bench player potentially. Like your squad actually looks pretty stacked, and I don't know, even this Varane news as well, like he may potentially actually want to come to United. And I think maybe the whole, like you said, there's the Ole out, Ole in, maybe with Ole staying in, the chances of players from outside actually wanting to join the group and sticking to the plan might actually pull off. I've always thought Ole was never good enough, but I think maybe if you guys can fetch all of these players and they actually come. I don't know about if you guys will buy a Sancho and a Varane, but if you get Sancho for sure, I think it's looking a bit, it could be worrying for other clubs with Man U. Like, I think you guys have a good chance if you guys get Sancho anyway.
Yeah, I think KJ would agree with me when I say this. Everybody, what you're saying is from whether we win the league or not is another thing, but in terms of having quality players, you can tell that Sancho is a rated player. by the level of salt that it creates from rivals when you're close to landing him. Because if he was, this is the thing with fans, you always know when you've got a good player because of their reaction. You know, everybody says Paul Pogba's a flop until he's linked with a move away and they go, you're losing Pogba. Why would you be celebrating the loss of a flop on an average player?
Sorry, no, it's always the one where it's like, oh, he's a flop. He's like, oh, would you take him at your club? Hell yeah, I would. Like, of course I would. You know what I'm saying?
Anthony Martial went through this. I remember for 2 seasons, Martial got so much stick from rivals. And then, you know, when he was nearly leaving under Jose Mourinho, it's like 2018. I remember fans from Liverpool, Arsenal, oh, well, we'd love him. We'd love him. I was like, oh, he's good then. And that's when you know it's those little moments, you know, like every time he gets linked, like Chelsea fans are the only ones who are not calling him overhyped and overrated because he's still, and Liverpool are on the fence because he's still loosely linked to them. But as soon as it becomes clear that he's only going United, it'll be actually, it's only, like we had the row the other day. Like, I can't believe how easy these people walked into the trap. They were like, you can't take his statistics seriously because it's in the Bundesliga. This was the same guy, Twisted Bubba, that sat on this stream in the comment section for months saying Lewandowski is miles better than Kane. I'm like, bruv, think about where those goals are. And you know, it makes sense. And then you had the other day, listen, Mason Mount is light years in front of Sancho because he's won a bigger trophy than him. I'm like, oh, thank you very much for again confirming the Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard debate. People are so quick to try and win their quick argument. They don't think about the wider implications of their argument. I love it. I absolutely love it from football fans. It's so good. Twisted Bubba is my guy, by the way. He's a big supporter of the terrorists, but it's just everyday agenda. It's like I call it the have hope syndrome. Have Hope could sit with us on the stream for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And in the space of an hour, I've undone his own argument 3 times.
Oh, my God. He had the biggest Mason Mount agenda. I'm telling you, he hated Mason Mount. Now he's transformed. Now he's like, oh, he's a serious player. He's a serious player. I told him, yo, come on, man. You got to see the quality of Mason Mount. But I don't know, man. He actively disliked him. Actively said he was an average player.
We have our own Mount hater on the terrace, innit? You know what I'm saying? Hold tight, David, and that.
Yeah. Do you know the thing is, what I love about haters is again, we all get thrown into the same box. I didn't think 2 years ago that Mason Mount would go on to do what he's doing. I actually think I did tweet once saying he's a bit of a fraud. And I meant that in the sense of, I think he gets overhyped. But then he improved. So my opinion changed, and I apologize for it. And I very easily and quickly went, you know what? I didn't see what everybody else was seeing. And that's so normal in football. What I love is when someone has a take on a player and then it sticks with them regardless. KJ's got his WhatsApp open.
No, I've closed my Twitter. It still gives me notifications. I'm sorry, Terry. I'm sorry.
No, it is. I'm one of these people. I have my phone. If you phone me, my phone don't even ring. I have everything in my whole life, like not on notify, everything silent. I don't know why. I think also I grew up in an era where like you couldn't have phones at work. Like you got caught your phone in your pocket at work, you got like reprimanded for it. So I just used to shut everything down. Like I got friends now, their WhatsApp's on their computer. I'm like, what do you mean it's on your computer? Like, it's all up everywhere. I'm like, I don't get it. I'm just old. This is when I realized I'm so old. I'm so old. Like I don't like nothing on notification, but then I do miss things. That's to be fair. But yeah, like I love it when people have these agendas on people, and then they get better, or they disprove them, and then they keep moving that goalpost. Like look at Bruno Fernandes, right? He gets the Fernandes thing, and what does he do in big games? And I like that because he's going to keep scoring penalties when we get them because he's the best. I think he's the best penalty taker in the Prem. So why would he not take the Prem? But next year, I want to know what the excuse is going to be. What you might find will happen, he might score less goals next season, but actually be better in 5, 6, 7 more of the big important games. But then it'll be, see, he's gone backwards in numbers. He's not as good. If you don't like Bruno, they will unless he scores 30 plus goals, balls in every big game and wins every trophy, certain people are never going to praise him. So I don't disregard them. I just look at it and laugh. I look at it as, you're being a jester, you're being a joker, so I'm going to laugh at you like a clown as opposed to debate you because it's funny what you're doing. And I almost like to see them struggling to get out of the corner they put themselves in. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, no, 100%. I can't lie. I've been guilty of doing that type of thing as well. Not saying I ever thought this guy was bad, but Mbappe, when he first came on the scene and was doing this thing at Monaco, I said, yeah, he's a good player, but I don't think he's there yet. I don't know what everyone's saying. He's the best in the world. And all of this, literally a year later, I was like, okay, yeah, you know, I'm sorry, guys, I'm sorry. He's gets the World Cup. I'm like, okay, he's a serious player. I gotta leave it there.
You know what it is, though, bro? Do you know what it is? It's this thing of we all get stuff wrong and we all get stuff right. Like I'm a big fan of Rants. I don't necessarily agree with all his opinions on everything, but I like listening to him as a YouTuber. We all get things wrong. I've seen him put some stuff out there that he's been bang on right about for years from day one. I also saw a tweet someone put out of his. And again, this could have been in jest. I don't know. And ask him about it. He doesn't tweet, and I don't ring him or text him every time going, what did you actually mean by this, Rants? Because life ain't that deep. Do you know what I mean? He put a thing out about Fred being clear of Kante. But that was a point where Kante wasn't playing so well.
Yeah, it's true.
And everybody does this where we think, oh, this player's better than this guy. I look at Scott McTominay is a great example. What happens, and this is what I'm intrigued by. Most Ollie outers don't like McTominay. Cool. What if they get a manager they all buzz over, but that new manager likes McTominay? I'm intrigued to see their opinion about McTominay then. I mean, I think some will dig their heels in and say, listen, I love the new coach, but he's wrong. Others will find some nuanced way to suddenly go, oh, like Neo, when he sees the Matrix, they're like, I've seen it. Stop. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be that moment where I want to see how they try and spin their Neo moment. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, that's
100%.
I banter it. People take it like, oh, Terry's being so. No, I love it. It's one of my most favorite parts of fan media, if that makes sense. It's the things we get wrong, and we all guess things right, and we all guess things wrong, and that's what we are as fans, isn't it?
Exactly. And that example you gave, like the perfect one for Chelsea fans, is literally Jorginho. So many people are on this guy's neck, and then Tuchel comes in and is playing him regularly, and he starts playing well, and you got the Chelsea fan base divided, like, oh no, Jorginho's still terrible. It's just the system helps him. Then you get the other half that acknowledge Jorginho's a top player. You just gotta play to his strengths, and then you get the best.
I haven't finished doing the research on it yet. I went and checked the number of touches that Mason Mount has in wide attacking positions under Tuchel on average per game compared to when he was with Lampard. So first half of the season, if Mount was ever in wide positions, whether starting or drifting, Chelsea fans were like, teacher's pet, must have nudes, he's Lampard's son, can't play out wide. By the end of the season, Mason Mount was God. It was like, he's so good, he's this, he should be in the England squad. Jesus. And it's like still taking up the same positions. And I get very sort of pernickety about starting positions and where you drift to. So if you spend all your time on the wing, but you start off centrally, what are you? Well, you are a central player, but that's where you move out to. If you start wide and you stay wide, there really isn't that much of a difference. That's still your position, right? It's what you're doing. And I just love how we see things differently based on who's doing it or who's putting them there.
Yeah,
like double pivot. Chelsea don't play with a double pivot. They play with twin sixes because it's got a new name. Everyone's like, oh, this is amazing, man. I'm like, bro, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. I love it, bro. I absolutely love it. I really, really do. It makes me die. It really, really does. Darren, mate, I appreciate you coming on, having your say with us today, mate. Really appreciate that.
Guys, man.
Not a problem at all. I like Darren. He makes me laugh. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Kay, thank you very much for coming on with me as well today. We're back later on today with more content. I keep forgetting it's Friday as well, by the way. Lots to do today. Do me a favor, everybody who's been tuning in, hit that like button, hit that share button. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all.